Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, whichever time you're watching, and from wherever you're watching, or from whatever time zone you are. Welcome to Real Men's Talk, where it is sizzling hot, interactive, and transforming. If you're watching live, hashtag replay. If you're watching live, hashtag live. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay. And don't forget to send in your comments and share the video with other people. Welcome once again to Real Men's Talk, where it is sizzling hot, interactive, and transforming. On today's episode, we shall be looking at the topic entitlement mentality. Entitlement mentality. And with me in the studio, I have my co-host, Dr. Femi Samuel.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, Mama T.
Good evening, sir. Good to have you. As we wait for the other people to join us while we go on the show, we will look at the topic entitlement mentality. What is entitlement mentality? Entitlement mentality is a sense of deservingness, demonstration of you owe me attitude, ungrateful attitude, feeling entitled for every support you receive, believing you deserve every privilege that comes your way. Entitled mentality, the individual that have entitled mentality exhibits behavior that push boundaries beyond control in order to get what they want. They are only all out for themselves and completely disregard other people's needs. So as we dive into the conversation today on entitled mentality, Dr. Samuel, what are the signs that you can see in certain people to know that they have entitlement mentality?
Um, Thank you very much, Mama T.
Welcome.
The signs that are evident that will make you know that someone has entitlement mentality. It could be that the person just become unnecessarily ungrateful. He feels that what he's getting is his right. The person feels that you are owing him, so the gratitude will not be there because he believe that I'm just collecting what is my due. I'm collecting what you are supposed to do to me. It's a common thing in the young people of today. Most especially, you have younger ones, siblings that just feel that am I not entitled to certain percentage of your salary? How much is your salary? How much have you given me since you started working? Are you not supposed to be sending this? Someone once asked me, are you not supposed to be sending money every month? And it's a common thing. Though we know times are hard, but it's a common thing. And people tend to uh, want to feel that someone is owing them. For the fact that you grew up together, you've done businesses together, it doesn't mean that person must pay a certain amount of money into your account. People have their difficult life, they have their challenges. For the fact that someone just bought a car, that doesn't mean that he has the money. It might even be on loan. So entitlement mentality is very common in our setting that you owe me. I'm entitled to something part of the salary. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. So what are the causes of entitlement mentality?
You may not will not be able to exhaust why people have entitlement mentality. I know it usually happen among siblings, people that you grow up together, your age group, and maybe you happen to now have money somehow. They have this belief that for you to, for you, because they are your friends, how you grew up, what you've been through, and why you should be able to help them. So, being the same age group with someone, the same clique with someone, you've done the same business together, you grew up with, you are siblings, you are friends. I've had people say that I have friends that are rich and none of them want to help me because they just believe that just because you feel your friend is rich, that doesn't mean that you should help you. They've forgotten that rich people don't help. It takes kind-hearted people to do that. So no matter the amount of money you feel the person has, it's not a must the person help you out of your predicament. And okay, let me tell you a story. I know of a man that met a politician and was requesting for money, help to pay hospital bill to manage the wife in the hospital. The politician asked the man to come back next day. The man went there next day. You know, politicians in their habit, they won't tell you they can't do it. So before the man got there, so many people have been there that have exhausted the man's account. The man just says, you say, young man, sorry, I've been drained, I've spent a lot of money today. The man took it so personal. The wife died. So sorry about that. But the man took it so personal. As if this man allowed my wife to die. When the case was narrated to me, well, the person I'm talking about than me. So there is no way I would have been able to tell him the truth that come. Your wife died, not because the man didn't help you. Number one, maybe the state of her health might have been bad already. Number two, maybe if have also for yourself, you have money to spend and to spare. Maybe you have taken care of your responsibility instead of shifting your responsibility to a senator because you feel that I voted for you, I campaigned for you, I helped you during the election, then I'm not collecting what is due. What is my due? So, well, it could be bad. We know the country is bad. But I always have this belief, even before now, that anything you do for me, you are doing it out of a kind heart. And I don't do things with the intention of let me see what I will get from it. No. You will just be heartbroken all the time. The best bet is that do what you feel will make you happy. If someone gives you anything extra, yes, I will appreciate it. But if it's not coming from you, well, I'm not entitled to anything from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So when people become entitled, when you are entitled on when you have unhealthy sense of entitlement to people, probably because of your relationship. Let's say the person is your sibling, or the person because it's your parent, because it's your child, or is my childhood friend, or is my colleague. What are the effects of entitled mentality on relationship?
Well, entitlement, the effect on relationship equal. It has broken a lot of relationships. Someone said that in Africa, we give birth to children we could not take, we could not train. We now be we grew up not blaming their parents, blaming their uncle that believe has money and refuse to help them. Not knowing that that same uncle has his own responsibility. He has not sorted out. And that's how it is. It generates a lot of hatred. You start blaming people for not paying your school fees, blaming people for not buying you phone, for a lot of things. So entitlement when someone feel entitled about what you are. If in fact you need to see after the demise of any of a man that is wealthy, the family will come around like vulture, wanting to share what this man has labored for. Why? because they believe that is our is our relative and we are entitled to his property. It's still entitlement principle because someone just feel that it's our brother and we're not supposed to share some of his things. In the real sense, if you work for yours, why should you be sharing someone else's things? And sometimes you look at what they are even sharing. Does it really worth sharing? I know of a particular that the husband died, the wife has a kid. Fortunately, unfortunately, was killed by a truck. The company that owns the truck wanted to pay the family off. They collected the money. And I asked, how much was this money? You know, 2 or 3 million naira. They didn't want to give the woman because they believe that our brother died, is dead now, and are we not entitled to part or some of his property? It's a very big thing. Nigerian, the thing originated from the fact that in Africa we live communal life. It's unlike the Caucasian, the Asian in which you can live on your own, you don't need any family. No, even when you get married in a family, you marry that family. You live communal life. They share when Mr. A want to build house, everybody will build house for Mr. A. The same for Mr. B. So over the years, you start feeling that what belongs to your brother is actually yours. To the extent that when a man dies, the younger brother will want to marry the wife because he believes it's our wife, we pay the dowry. The right to marry that woman must be transferred to the next of kin or the sibling. It's as bad as that. Everything is a judgment mentality because someone just feel like, why should my brother, someone else marry my brother's wife? But if you like to live, if you really want to live beyond that, you just have to ask yourself, you convince yourself that anything anybody gives to you, the person is just being kind and you don't expect anything from it. So you will say a lot of thank you. So entitlement mentality has put strain on relationship, bitterness, fight, unhealthy rivalry over what? The property that first people fight for property that that they can acquire. You see a man that is rich is fighting for a plot of land that value less than 2 million naira. So because he feels entitled, it's my right, I must share it. So entitlement mentality has put strain and damaged a lot of relationship because the younger sister or the younger brother that feels that my brother is only his wife that is eating the money, is not giving me anything, it's not putting me on payroll every month. Or if you be putting the person on your payroll, you'll be paying a token to the person's account. The day you don't pay it, he feels it's his wife that is making him not to give him money. And start fighting over it. It has destroyed a lot of relationship. Though I know that times are hard, especially in this part of the world, things are difficult. But if you can just condition your mind that whatsoever anybody gives to me is extra, plan your life very well. You don't need to fight anybody to bring out, to get his property. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So let's look at when people get dissatisfied by other people because of their high expectation. They get angry and feel cheated. The next thing is that they start displaying entitled behavior. How do one handle such people?
Sometimes you meet people that is displaying entitlement behavior, and the best bet you can do is just to stay mute. Fighting someone that feels entitled to your property, to your money, or to anything that you have is exercise in futility. This is not going to listen to you. How many people will say some things that are funny and you just look and just keep quiet? When you talk, someone start counting, we have something to hold on to that when I ask him money, this is what he said. So there is no need to fight, there is no need to quarrel when someone display entitlement mentality to you. You understand because knowing full well that in Africa we live communal life, someone will feel that whatsoever you have is his own. I feel that they will feel they must borrow, collect money from you. Even when they now borrow the money from who will come and borrow, when you lend them the money, they won't pay back because they feel that it's their right, it's their own share. No, they feel it's their own share. Not they are not paying back, not because they don't have. That is their own share. They are entitled to that money. So it's a very difficult thing. Sometimes you have to explain. Sometimes you have to just keep mute. Sometimes, well, you have to bow to the pressure and say, let me just give him something so that I can rest. Any one of those things, depending on what your situation are. Follow one a line of action and hope that it works and they leave you alone because there's poverty. And you know what someone said? One rich man in the midst of 10 poor people is also poor. Is also poor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So why do people feel entitled to other people's money?
Well, people feel entitled to people's money because they feel that, okay, experience sometimes ago. One of my friends that we grew up together, I just called on her birthday to say happy birthday. So she's disappointed in you. I can't even be sending her money and all those things. I say, I'm not a politician. I work for my money. If you actually need the money, if I even can say, can I get some? I will understand. I will just wake up, collect salary, and list people and send it to people. No civil servant lives that way. Unless you have money somewhere that you are stealing. Nobody lives that way. I mean, you see, people get entitled because they feel that they've done a favor, they rendered a favor for you in the past, and and they feel that this is the payback time. This is the time that you should pay them back. So what do you expect? You start expecting so much. And if you don't do it, they get so angry. Some may feel that they grew up together with you. You were together struggling. So why is it that now you've made it, you don't even want to extend the extend the kind gesture to us. Make us also feel part of your money. So there are a lot of things where we feel entitled to whatever you are. In fact, a child too can feel entitled to what you have. A child, if you have a child and it's maybe you now feel that that's someone that told a child that can't you augment the money for my car? They feel entitled that you should give me something for my car. And that's what happens most of the time. It's unfortunate it's in our culture. In some other crime, what do they do? By the time you're 18, you're already thinking of leaving home. You are working somewhere, you are buying your iPhone, paying the bike, you are recharging your phone. Nobody is giving you any. Even people that are so rich, like Bill Gates, they may not even keep those words for their kids. They will share it to people that if you are hardworking enough, go and make your own money. But as per this is my own money. But here it's not like that. Everybody wants to keep the money that you have for your family and you alone. And the other people in the street feel that, well, they must get out of it. I must say that this mentality has really launched us into, make us poorer. For instance, a politician collect constituency allowance. What will you do consider to feed people in the street? Because out of the money was supposed to use to make road, infrastructure, give them pipe-borne water and all those things. You have to give to people to it. And people will even say that, well, it's my own right I'm collecting. During election, the same thing happens. You don't want to part with money, nobody will vote for you. So we will keep being having bad leadership as long as we have entitlement mentality. Because we will keep having everybody feels that this is when I can eat part of my money. If I don't take the money, if I don't take the money now, when will I won't see them again. So you feel see the money that they want to give as if it's your entitlement, not knowing that it's just your future they are giving you to feed on. And when you finish feeding on your future, it's like a farmer that is eating the seed. You don't eat the seed. What will you plant in planting season? You eat the food, you keep your seed for the planting season. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, why do people feel other people hold them favor?
Expectation has a way of frustrating you. Most of the time, you expect too much from people. The only way to live happy is not to expect too much from anybody. Expect that this your friend that you love so much can actually break your heart. This your friend that you love so much can actually disappoint you. So when you think about that, you will not be expecting anything. So people actually feel that I must get something from this person. It's just part of our culture. It's cultural. It's cultural that when you get to when you become comfortable, you have a job, you have to start feeding other people. It's cultural. So the entitlement mentality is culture. That is why it's commoner in our midst compared to the Western world because we live communal life. We grew up living a communal life. So everybody expect that so for instance, if you are doing naming or any burial, people around you, you expect people to contribute money for you. And if they don't, you'll be angry. So why would they contribute money for me? It's still part of the entitlement mentality because we feel that in our system, in our community, that is what we do and it should remain.
Most of the time, people feel they are being treated unfairly. How should one handle unfair situation?
Thank you. Life itself is not fair. Life itself is not fair. So people will always think you are treating them unfairly. But knowing that life itself is not fair, you just need to uh, keep calm. You just need to keep calm. Because life is people will always think someone is not treating them fairly, someone is uh, not being kind to them, someone is being selfish, someone is being stingy, and that's what it is. People always think of that. It's you. Sometimes you have to talk to some people and explain to them what is really going on. Because someone can just be over assuming your salary is 10 million naira, whereas you are just earning 150,000 naira. I'll be expecting you to meet up with that 150,000 with 10 million naira. So you just have to explain yourself out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, Mr. Oluwalere, sir. Mr. Oluwalere, welcome to the show. He's still trying to set his mic. Okay, so let's go on why he sets his mic. So now, at what point does fairness become entitled? At what point does fairness become entitled?
Fairness. At what point does it become entitled? There are some people in your life that They're entitled to whatever you have. And some of them, like your kids, your wife, they are by the virtue of the relationship you keep with them, they're entitled to things in your life. Even your aged parents, sometimes your siblings too, they can be entitled to some things in your life because of one or two prevailing circumstances that they are passing through. So there's no way you go about it because in Africa you don't live alone. So you just need to be, I mean, fair to those people. But that doesn't also mean that you should over in a way to satisfy others. Because the truth is that if you are no more, they will still survive very well without you. Thank you.
Okay, looking at those people that are entitled by relationship, your parents, your siblings, your spouse, they are entitled because of a close relationship. So at what are the signs of unhealthy entitlement from such people that are close to you?
Thank you. Sign of unhealthy entitlement. Unhealthy entitlement could be that someone over demanding on what he wants to get from you. For instance, someone telling you that pay our children's school fees. If your children are attending school that is a little bit expensive, they want he or her children to attend the same school. That if this school is good enough for your child or your kids, it should be good enough for my kids. And knowing that you are not even going to pay, is the one making the payment. So that entitlement is not healthy. Some can make demands that are way too absurd. Someone making demand that he wants to buy a car, even that you cannot afford. What does he want to do with it? If you have the money, good. If he needs it, good. But people ask you things that are so unhealthy because they believe that you have money, they believe you have money, and they believe that you should be able to get a good share of your resources. So when people start making, I mean, demands that are not reasonable, you start asking yourself, is it that they're overrating you and you just believe that you are just being stingy, bring out this money, let's spend it. Not knowing that you have your own life to plan. That could actually be so unhealthy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Miss Alualere, good to have you, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening,
How are
sir.
you, ma'am?
Yeah, so let me
Good
quickly hit
evening.
you with this. Is it possible for children to have unhealthy entitlement towards their parents?
Hmm. It is possible. It is possible. But under an ideal situation, it shouldn't be. Unhealthy rivalry depends on what you are saying exactly. Although I'm just coming in, I don't know what you have discussed. And let me just apologize. I'm supposed to be here before now. 10 minutes. So I'm really very sorry. Unhealthy
Okay,
rivalry,
accepted.
depending on the type of the problems
Unhealthy
or the challenges they are
entitlement.
having. But
Hello,
under normal
sir.
I
circumstances, if a child wants to respect the parents, hello, hello,
Unhealthy
are you hearing
entitlement.
me?
Unhealthy
Hello,
entitlement.
unhealthy, unhealthy entitlement. Can you give an example, please? Sorry, that I'm just joining.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Samuel, can you answer that? Then I'll
Hello,
come back to you, sir.
hello,
I'll
hello.
come back to you. Let Dr. Samuel
Oh,
handle
hello
that.
sir. Hello sir.
I didn't get the question very well. I didn't get the
Is
question. I didn't. Yes, sir.
it possible for a child to have unhealthy entitlement? Yes. My answer is yes. It's possible. Unhealthy
Okay.
entitlement in the sense that sometimes children should parents should know the limits in which their children can make demand from them. Their wants and their needs. There are some things that you just want them. They are not your need. You don't need them to actually survive. But you want them because that is the prevailing material in the society that people are using, or you feel that it will increase your social class when you have them. So people can actually feel that the material or the material things that belongs to the parent are they not also entitled to do what their parents are doing, to lay hands on them and make use of them. It's possible. But what parents should also make kids to know is that you must teach them not to depend solely on the property they have. They must also learn to work and make money for themselves. Because no matter what you give to them, if you've not taught them how to maintain it, it will go. It's just a matter of time. Those things will go. So we should teach our kids that not to have unhealthy entitlement. There's no way kids will not show it. When you have two or three, one of them will just be making demand unnecessarily, even demand for things that he or she may not even need. It's possible for kids to have an unhealthy entitlement, but it's what the parent should notice and look for a way to to correct it early in life. Another kid that could have an idea entitlement, that kids that are grown, that are almost living on their own, sometimes they make some demand that are funny. And what is this demand based on? My father has money now. This one I've been working. Why can't he just change my car? Why can't my dad send me abroad for my? I mean, if you have a dad, I've sent you to school, I've trained you in which you can take care of yourself. And for any reason at all, you need something the man is not giving. You don't know why. He may even be testing you. But to now start fighting, some of them will go as far as fighting the man, not talking to the man, stealing the man, telling everybody the man is very stingy. Just because the man refuses some of your demand. You should know that certain age is common out here. You can get a man of 30 years, 32 years, 35 years, still asking for recharge money because he feels this is right. But if you know that no, this is not my right, this I should work for my own, he will not be asked. So you must teach them that no, this is not, especially grown-up kids. They just say they want to get married, go and look for money. The question is that where did they expect to get the money from? Nowhere. So they are just feeling that you gave back to me. Other people's father are buying car for them. Why can't you buy it for me? So we must just try to receive it. If not so, you will spend the rest of your life trying to live for that child, trying to satisfy the child. And you cannot satisfy someone that is not grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So,
The other
how
question,
can
yeah.
we how can we handle parents who demonstrate entitled attitude towards their grown-up children?
How do we handle
If you're the
them?
child, how should you handle that? You know that your parents are
Ordinarily,
becoming entitled and they are giving you the attitude. Then how do you handle that?
well, I think to me, I'm just being careful in all these questions because I'm just coming in. I don't really know what is discussed. Like the first question, why I was very careful is when you say children. Yeah, I was to say, are they still living with the parents or they are married? That's why I was very difficult, very careful to answer it. To handle the parents, coming back to your question, to handle parents who hold on to those things, I think to me the best thing to do is to look for those who you know your parents can listen to and talk to them. And you shouldn't be proud when you are talking to them. You should be very careful in presenting the case of your parents to them. But I think those who the parents respect, those the parents are close to, should be those who you talk to to talk to your parents. It could even be maybe the pastor or the bishop or whoever that your parents, you know, your parents are always looking up to, either in the church or in the society. So I think the best way, when you know your parents are not really cooperating with you in such a situation, I think the best thing to do is to talk to those ones to help you appeal to your parents. But you must be sensible in reporting or in handling such a situation. I don't know whether that answers your questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, Dr. Samuel, what is the clear cut between what
Yes.
is unjust, just, and fair and unfair?
Oh, what is just and unjust, fair and unfair? Depends on so many things. And what it depends on your morals, societal norms, religious inclination, and religious inclination. So what you call norms here, what you call fair may not be fair to someone else. Like when we say this to entitlement mentality, your parent is asking you for money or asking you for things you cannot afford. I know of a man that the father asked him to buy car. No, they bought car for the wife. And the father's comment was that, does your sister have a car? That the behavior of the man is not fair on the family. The sister is married to another, is married, is in her husband's house, and you want the sister, you ask the man to buy a car because the wife is right. He bought a car for the wife. He should buy for the sister. At least the sister grew up with him. So that's how those things happen. Someone will feel that it is not fair. So now, when we come about just, unjust, fair, and unfair, it depends on a lot of things. Something may be just to you and may be unjust to you. Something may be fair to you and may be unfair to you. Why? It depends on the way I see things. There is no absolute there are no absolute definition for what is fair and what is just. It depends on your own perspective. Someone could tell you that throwing a party, lavishing money is not fair because people are hungry. That's what I would say, why not? It's fair because he wants to make himself happy. So those things are not things that could easily be categorized or sectionalized because it depends on your moral, religious inclination, your moral standing, or your perspective to life generally. Hope I'm able to answer your question, man.
Yes, that was a beautiful way to answer that. You really gave us a clear distinction on how people view things. Ms. Oluwalere, our society has the cultural belief on certain things, indicating things that are fair or unfair, how we get involved with relatives, and so on. So how do you draw a clear cut when you observe someone is unnecessarily becoming entitled and you are finding it overbearing? How do you draw the line, Mr. Oluwalere, sir?
I didn't get that question, please. It's not clear. Your voice
Our
is not
society
clear.
have the cultural belief. Our society, we have the belief
Okay.
on certain things. We indicate things that are fair and things that are unfair. How do we get involved? How doesn't the society tells us define our relationship with people and so many other things like that? So how do you draw a clear line when you observe someone is unnecessarily becoming entitled and you are finding it overbearing? How do you draw the line?
Well, to me, I think the best way to do anything, to me, before I do anything, I don't depend on what society says. I depend on what the Bible says. I'm sorry, that's my belief. Because you discover there are many things societies are asking for that are not really necessary. There are many things societies are asking for that are not even reasonable. There are many things that societies require you to do, but by your own religious belief, they are not really sensible. So to me, anything that contradicts the Bible, I don't want to listen to the society. And I don't believe that because everybody is doing something, I too have to do it. No. Instead of depending on what the society says, why not depend on what the Bible says? To me, I don't believe society should define me. Society shouldn't define me. If you say society should define me, my culture may be different from the culture of other people. And what the society is defining for me may not be applicable in the other society. So to me, I think my standard has always been the Bible. Whatsoever that is not in the Bible, I don't do it. Because society cannot really define me. I would rather prefer the Bible defines me than allowing the society to define me. You don't follow multitude to do evil. You don't say because people have been doing it, because society has been doing it, and you know it is wrong, and you want to follow them. No. If you are a child of God, let the Bible, let the word in the Bible defines you and not society. I don't know whether I answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Samuel, it is said that entitlement is found when there is a higher sense of belief in one's own importance, rather than the equality of all individuals involved or society as a whole. So how do one handle professional engagement with an entitled personality?
Can you come again,
People
please? My network.
it is said that entitlement is found when there is a higher sense of belief in one's own importance rather than the equality of all individuals involved or society as a whole. So how do one handle professional engagement with an entitled personality? People that set double standards.
Thank you. You always meet different people when you're at work, and that's what makes it's part of the work itself. Coping with your working environment and coping with your colleagues, people you work with. When someone is believing, when someone is exhibiting entitlement mentality at the place of work, there are times you just have to be careful. Depending on what the person wants. And if it's what you don't like, you may do that. But if you cannot talk to the person, you just have to look for a way to maneuver it. A job, it's all about it's all about marathon, not sprint race. You will have people, you will start, I mean, you have people that they don't, that you cannot really cope with. You have people you can cope with. There are sometimes you could survive with some people, that's why you cannot survive with others. So you must learn the skills to stay long because it's seen as a marathon. The skill to stay long on the journey is what makes you good. If it's I'm just visiting somewhere else, going on holiday for 1 month, I could do anything I like. After 1 month, I may not go back there, I may not see those people again. But your place of work, when you know you may be there for 5, 10, 15 years, you have to develop a coping mechanism because it's like a marathon. So you have to cope. Winning the race depends on how you can cope, you can conserve your energy during the race. So when you meet people that are giving you problem at your place of work, you just have to look for tactics to survive what you are seeing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Oluwalere, why do people feel entitled to make decisions for you, and how to deal with people like that?
Why do come again?
People feel entitled to make decisions for you. Sometimes feel like they feel entitled. There are certain decisions they're supposed to make that decision for you. And when you find yourself in such situation, how do you handle? How do you deal with that?
To me, as a matured person, I shouldn't expect anybody to make decisions for me. And if some people make decisions on my behalf that I know it's not supposed to be, I will counter such a decision. But it also depends if there are friends that can act on your behalf and you believe maybe such decisions are to your best interest. And there are people who always protect your interests occasionally, where you might just abide with such a decision. But in the situations whereby there are not people standing on your behalf or maybe acting on your behalf, and they want to say, okay, I'm making these decisions and I have to follow it hook, like, and sinker, when it's not to my best interest, I will decline it. Because as a mature person, I wouldn't expect anybody to make decisions for me anyway, except on those rare occasions whereby maybe because of the relationship, because of the closeness, because of the love, and you believe that you can do some things on my behalf. Outside that, I don't expect anybody to say he wants to make decisions to me. Maybe it also depends on age. But as a mature person, nobody can decide for me and saying I must abide with such a decision. No, I will counter it. But like those limits I have given, if they are my friends, they are close relationships, and such decisions are to my best interest, I might just align with it. But wherever I look at it and they are not to my best interest, I don't believe this should be a must for me to accept such decisions hook, line, and sinker. I'll counter it. Thank you.
I'm still with you, sir. How do you handle relative with entitled mentality? Dr. Samuel, let me go to you. How do you handle relative with entitled attitude?
This part of the world, all your relatives have entitlement. Most of them have entitlement attitude. They believe there is something they must get from you. Everybody you meet around you, your neighbors, your people who stay there in the street, place of work, everybody just have this belief that you're not supposed to. I've had people telling me that I'm not even spending your money, I've not even smell your money for spending your money. So it's being displayed around us. Everybody you meet around feels that there is something they want to take, they want to share part of your money. Well, you just have to, you go to chaos or canteen to get food, someone meet you and start, I want to buy food for you. It's all around us. You just have to ask yourself, is it what I can? If you can afford it, good. If you cannot afford it, there's something bad about just sorry, maybe some other time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Still with you. It was found that parents who overvalued, okay, Mr. Oluwalere is back, so let me give it to him. Sir, Mr. Oluwalere, it was found that parents who overvalued their children raise adults who would become more intrinsically entitled. What is your take on that?
Parents who overvalue their children
raise adults who would become more intrinsically entitled.
Mm-hmm. How do I handle that?
What is your take on that? What is your take on that?
If I may get that questions rightly, if parents overvalue a child, what that means is taking that person, is expecting a high expectations on that person, when in actual fact that person doesn't really get to the standard the parents is putting him. then to me, I shouldn't expect, especially if the child is a mature person, I shouldn't expect my parents to put me in a tight corner. No. In such a situations, if I know the value my parents are putting me, the expectations they are expecting from me is higher than what I can do. The next thing for me is to tell them politely, well, I may not be able to do it. I have to be polite with them. But if it's such a thing that I know within my power I can do, well, because for the respect, I will do it. Just for the purpose of respecting them. But if I believe it's above what I can do, I'll politely let them know. Sorry, I don't think I can do this. So that you will not be, such person will not be put on a tight corner. I don't know whether I answer your question.
Yes, sir. So I'll still
Yeah.
to stay with you. Let's
Okay.
look at this. What are the signs to look out for that our children are having entitlement tendency?
When you see a child demanding for something that you ordinarily believe he should not demand for, then there's a need for you to caution him. If your child will arbitrarily demand for things mostly that are not necessary, and you want to say because of the sake of love, you want to attend to it, you want to do such things for him, then you are creating a problem in the future. So to me, when a child is demanding for something that you believe is not reasonable or is not necessary, I think that is the way you need to tell him. Aside from maybe it's a special day, maybe he's celebrating his birthday and somebody you love very well and you just don't want to spoil that day for him. But aside from that, if a child is arbitrarily demanding for things that are not necessary, I think the best thing is not to do it so that you will not end up over pampering such a child. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Finally, I'll stay with you. How do we
Okay.
prevent raising entitled children?
To prevent it is for you to cancel them at the beginning. You know, it's easier to bend a stick when it's still fresh because it becomes difficult to bend it without breaking it when it's dried up. So the best thing is to politely, from the beginning, caution them, let them know. Let them know what is called overbearing. Let them know what is called this entitlement mentality. Let them know the level they need to get to. Let them know it is not absolutely important to over demand or to have a kind of over entitlement mentality. So if you counsel them from the beginning, they too will caution themselves. They will not go beyond their limits. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Samuel, what's the final take on this topic?
My final take is that people should know that any sacrifice anybody makes for you, appreciate it. Don't think that people have money and they don't have what to do with the money. And it is your own it's your own duty to help exhaust their bank account. If you don't expect too much from anybody, you won't get heartbroken, you'll be disappointed. So face your life. Anything anybody is giving to you, appreciate it when it's coming, while it lasts. If it's not there, well, still appreciate the person for remembering you in the past, though you need help now. Let's look beyond what others can do for us. Let's look at what we can do for others and our society. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Oluwalere, what's your final word on this?
My final word is very simple. Do not use another man's standard to compare your life. Stay within your limits. If you stay within your limits, then caution yourself. Don't say because so person is doing something, or is entitled to something and his parents doing it and you want to do it. No, don't compare yourself with others. You are completely different from one another. So just stay within your limits, be careful, and don't claim rights when it comes to this issue of entitlement. Then that's my final take.
Thank you, Saz, for this eye-opening uh, conversation about entitlement. So on this take, we are going to draw the curtain. At the same time, while we close today, we want to let our viewers know how to overcome unhealthy sense of entitlement. When do you know when to draw the line? When do you know when you're supposed to not being overbearing on other people? You should have it at the back of your mind that no one, no one owes you anything. Do things because it is the right thing to do, not for reward. Don't hold on to favor you did to others. Be grateful for people in your life and be grateful for every little thing that comes into your life. Try to make sacrifices for others without expecting anything in return. So try to assess your expectation from others so that you can know when you are becoming overbearing or over-demanding. Don't expect favor from people regardless of your relationship. When shown kindness, accept it with gladness and gratitude. Develop a sense of responsibility for your own life. Be considerate. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. Don't do to others what you would not accept from them. Keep it at the back of your mind that everyone has his own cup of tea to do it. So be sympathetic with others. Have a clear expectation of what is acceptable and not. Give more than you take. Have a change mindset. The world does not revolve around you. Stop being insensitive. Accept reality even when it doesn't go well with you. And finally, stop setting unrealistic expectation on people. So on this note, we are going to say thank you to everyone for being part of today's conversation. And we hope that we do this again when we'll be having another conversation on another topic. Everyone, Dr. Samuel.
Good night, ma. Good night, everyone.